And the great thing about the computer is that it can bring together in one experience the aesthetic, the personal, the bodily, the analytic, the mathematical, the abstract. All these things happen in one combined, integrated experience.
In 1984, there was a television program in the Danish television called Talking Turtle. And I happened to watch that, and there was this charismatic person there telling about what children could do with computers. That guy was Simon Papert.
What we really have to think about is what produces involvement, engagement, what grabs the individual.
What interested me was Simon Papert's view on children and how they can learn through experimentation, how they can learn through play.
Education has very little to do with explanation. It has to do with engagement, with falling in love with the material.
I was absolutely fascinated, and I said, go and get contact with him. We have to talk to him.
In 1984, I was already working with Seymour Papert, helping to connect Lego bricks to the computer so that children could control their Lego constructions from the computer. Then out of the blue, Seymour got a letter from top executives at the Lego company.
Seymour, whose life's work was children and learning, met Kjeld, whose life work was children, and the two of them really hit it off.
We started working together, and that's lasted now more than 30 years. The MIT Media Lab has 25 different research groups doing all different types of creative, innovative work.
In my work, I combine arts and crafts with electronics to create artistic, expressive pieces.
The Cityscope platform was developed to allow people to engage with urban planning.
This is the first device ever to make it easier for people to walk.
The researchers and students here at the Media Lab, they're constantly experimenting, trying new things, building complex structures from simpler parts. They're doing it in a Lego spirit. My own group is called the Lifelong Kindergarten Group, where we focused on designing new technologies and activities to engage people in creative learning experiences. A big part of our collaboration with the Lego company is sharing ideas.
We explore technology and how it can impact the human potential. From our perspective, primarily through play.
The Makey Makey is a little circuit board we invented here that lets kids transform anything in their world into a controller for games or music.
One of the things that we always talk about is we want to solve big challenges and big problems, and in order to do that, you have to be innovative. And I think to be innovative, you need people who are sort of not afraid to try new things, make mistakes.
So that means we need to help children become creative thinkers.
The goal of these creative workshops is really to give children an opportunity to come up with their own ideas, imagine something, and then figure out how to design it.
We should still keep this plate, but take this one.
They need to be constantly exploring, experimenting.
It works!
Whoa. Oh my God.
Through natural discovery, by testing things, by tinkering, by experimenting, by creating.
They're using Lego motors and sensors, and then if it doesn't work the way they want, they start revising it.
So you have to kind of adjust the motor power so it actually has enough power to knock the lights off.
So they're really learning through having a goal, imagining something, and then bringing it to life. So rather than just thinking of the computer of something that I think, what am I supposed to do? They start thinking, what do I want to do with it? They start getting new ideas.
The children are learning to program, they're learning about motion. Above all, they're learning the scientific knowledge is not something separate from their passion for toys.
After a couple of years of cooperation, it crystallized that we really want to make a set for the schools.
We worked for several years on designing prototypes, testing it out with children in classrooms.
When the elevator comes up, it'll reverse the direction and it'll call elevator again. I can pick it up now. Get it?
We could then, in 1988, market the first product that had come out of the cooperation, which was called Lego TC Logo.
And as electronics got smaller and lighter and cheaper, we realized we could build the electronics of the computer directly into a Lego brick.
Seymour, at a point in time, probably maybe in the early 90s, started talking about the intelligent brick.
I remember many occasions walking into Kel's office with the latest prototype that we've developed at MIT, and you'd see the gleam in Kel's eyes. We would start talking about it, but he would immediately want to get his hands on the prototype. We ultimately came up with a final version that the Lego company came out with in 1998 as Lego Mindstorms. One thing that surprised us was that even though we had designed it primarily for children, initially a lot of the sales were to adults. They would build into robots as part of robot competitions. They would build piano-playing robots that would walk on the piano keyboard and play, plant-watering robots that would test out when the soil was dry, dancing robots that would dance to different music. It just opened up all sorts of new creative design possibilities for children around the world.
We can't say what children will need in the future. Adults shouldn't be saying what children ought to learn, but I think we can say something about how children should be learning.
Everyone should be able to learn to express their ideas with the computer, and that's what coding is all about.
When you say coding, people think of like numbers that are super complicated and stuff that even I don't understand, but like Scratch is much easier.
Scratch is a visual programming language for kids that we developed here. These elements on the screen actually look like Lego blocks, and you snap them together, and very quickly you can make things start happening.
Programming is like playing with Lego bricks. It's the same structured and very creative process.
You know that it can be done. It's just a question of how you find the way. That is exactly the same as your Lego experience.
It's constrained in a way that's really easy for kids to get started, but it's open-ended, so people can build anything.
It tells us the Lego idea is alive in the physical world, but it's very much alive in the digital world, and that's highly inspirational for us.
As I think about the future of our relationship with the Lego company, it's not just about bringing products to the world, but bringing change to the world. We're always thinking of Seymour's vision of a world where children can take control of their own learning, to use the materials around them to explore the world, to understand the world in new ways, and to understand themselves in new ways.
We think the approach of the Media Lab to learning is the way of the future, and that's why we take so much inspiration from this partnership, because we think it really defines how education, but also informal learning, should happen in society.
The fact that we share these values about creativity, imagination, play and learning belongs together, that is something that has kept us together for all these years.
This is where it leads to a fundamental change in the nature of the learning.